Is it me, or is Nickelodeon the king of white noise shows? You know those shows that you never really pay attention to, but you just put them on in the background while you're doing something, and occasionally you'll glance over and pay attention just for a few seconds? While those shows aren't that bad, they're not really worth getting your full attention. And Nickelodeon just seemed to be full of shows like this, and Mighty B is no exception. The show stars a young girl named Betsy who is trying to become the best member of her Girl Scout troop, which leads to all sorts of wacky antics. So yeah, at best the show is just okay, but nothing special. But today we're not here to review the show at its most okayish. No, today we are going to be talking about the show at its absolute worst, with an episode that deals with a subject that is near and dear to my heart and that I am very passionate about. Feminism. Now, feminism in cartoons has always been a mixed bag. Some cartoons can portray it well and get the message across fairly nice, and others like Mighty B do the cause more harm than they do it justice. So let's not waste any more time, because I'm going to enjoy ripping this shit heap into shreds. This is Mighty B. P.S. I'm not sure why they spelled woman with a Y. Maybe it's a clever joke or reference that I am too uncultured to guess. But if so, then that may be the only clever part about this episode. So the episode starts off with our main character Betsy looking through the Honey Bee Scouts prize book, which it just so happens she's saving up for one of the bigger prizes. Now I just want you to keep this scene in mind as we continue on with the episode. The prize book consists of a secret decoder ring, fingerless gloves, diving gear, a massage chair, and other random items. Notice how we don't see any makeup, glitter, dolls, dresses, and other stereotypical women's items. This may seem like an insignificant thing to remember, but trust me, this is just one of the many flaws of how this episode is portraying feminism. Now we cut to the next day where a meeting for the Mighty Bee Scouts is about to happen, but unfortunately the group leader is out that day, so Betsy gets her mom to substitute for the group leader.
So you'll do it? Lead the troop? Oh, Pumpkin, you know authority isn't really my thing.
Now, Betsy's mom says that authority is not her thing. However, she owns and runs her own cafe, not to mention that in just a minute, her mom is going to become a rebellious leader to the little rebellion of Girl Scouts that she has little to do with. Sorry for the spoilers ahead of time, but yeah, one of the biggest problems in this episode is the hypocrisy. A lot of things are said in this episode that immediately get contradicted within the next few scenes. And trust me when I say a lot of things get contradicted, I mean a good 90% of this episode is contradicted. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now Betsy's mom agrees to substitute as group leader and starts reading off the tasks for that day.
Type 80 words per minute and or master dictation. Arrange a bouquet 4 flowers minimum. Make a bed with perfect hospital quarters.
Child's play.
And I just love how she only reads off a few of the 100 badges the kids are tasked to earn. And yet those few badges automatically make the group sexist and oppressive. Hell, the badges aren't even that sexist. Learning how to make a bed properly, to cook, arranging flowers, and typing a fucking letter. You know, important life skills that everyone should know how to do in some form. And while flower arranging isn't that important, one could say that arranging flowers in a bouquet is an art form. And I want you to remember that, as it's another hypocritical moment. Anyways, the mother goes on a rant about how they are being oppressed and shackled by a society.
Whatever happened to self-expression, progress, keeping an open mind? You are not little ladies. You are human beings with your own ideas and interests.
Now I love this part more than anything else in the episode, as the mother tells them they are human beings with their own ideas and interests. Now, that is by far the most hypocritical message in this entire episode for many reasons. One being that just because you're not interested in something, that doesn't mean you should not learn it. Most people may not be interested in reading, but that doesn't mean they should get through their whole lives without learning how to read. Some people hate math, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't learn how to add or subtract. So yeah, they may have interests, but stepping outside of your comfort zone to learn new things is never a bad idea, and I'm pretty sure it's not sexist. It's funny how the mom talks about progress, yet her idea of progress is more backward ass than the jackass's ass upside down. Betsy's mom's idea of progress is just disobeying all the rules and expressing yourself rather than learning something useful like how to cook or how to type a fucking letter. Her idea of progress is only holding them back from an actual progressive future. The mother then asks one of the girls named Portia what she thinks a good use of her time would be.
Before tanning and magazines.
Oh, that's, valid?
She says she loves tanning and everything involving tanning, and yet the mom reacts to this rather negatively, only saying that Portia's answer was valid in a hesitating manner. So already she is showing her hypocrisy by disagreeing with what Portia thinks just because it's not what she wanted to hear. And to this episode's credit, at first things don't seem that bad. The mom decides to take the girls outside for a free day, which is nice, taking a break with the substitute leader and having just a nice free day, flying kites and playing music. It's nice and it doesn't seem that bad. It's until the mom starts making them do activities that her true colors are revealed. The girls are instructed to paint, and by paint I mean just fling paint around with any part of their body. She tells them to express themselves and praises them for paint slinging, yet her own daughter is making some fantastic art with skills beyond kids her own age, and yet her mother criticizes her. Which is funny because her mom cheered the other girls into doing whatever they wanted, yet her own daughter actually wants to try making good art. Her mom gets onto her for not doing what the other girls are doing. You can't just praise the other girls for expressing themselves the way you want them to and criticize your daughter for expressing herself the way she wants to. To make matters worse, we get a good 30 seconds of the mother trying to force her daughter to wear a less oppressive outfit while she paints.
Come on. Smock.
Apron.
Smock.
Apron.
Smock.
Apron.
Smock. Apron.
So how can you praise all the other girls for doing exactly what you want, yet when your daughter wants to do things her own way, that's when you go on to her. That's when you feel like she isn't expressive or a real human being. Again, the hypocrisy is strong in this one. Next, we have all the girls sharing poems, in which one of the girls' poems consists of only the word donut being repeated 10 times.
Donut. 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 Donut.
And they all praise her for how expressive she is. Yet when Betsy gets on stage and recites some lines from one of their textbooks,
Miss Manners says when at a dinner party, if 2 hot plates are served, it is acceptable for guests.
everyone boos at her, which begs the question, what counts as expressive and what doesn't? How is saying donut 10 times any more expressive than reading from a book that interests you? Well, I have a tiny feeling that the episode isn't going to explain that little detail for me, but the next part of the episode is the real kicker. This one moment has just made me experience pure rage anytime I think about it. It is by far the most hypocritical and unacceptable moment in this episode. In this scene, Betsy has shown extreme passion for cooking, even spending all night cooking food for her and her scout members in the next scene, and yet her own mother still doesn't support her, and her mom owns a fucking cafe. Her mother cooks for a profession, serving people on a daily basis. It's not her hobby, it's her profession. It's the most hypocritical, backwards ass shit I've ever witnessed. She is just a horrible fucking mom, constantly bashing her own kid for not doing exactly what she wants, seeing her kid trying to succeed and always going on to her for doing so. It's funny how she is trying to free the girls from oppression, yet she is the one oppressing her own daughter. And while I hate to get political, this episode just makes me want to rant. This episode perfectly shows why I hate social justice warriors. They expect all women to act the way they want them to only be interested in whatever they deem acceptable. And yet when other women rebel against them, refusing to buy into what they say or think like they do, those social justice warriors try making some excuse that those women are brainwashed or that they know what's better for women than those women do. And to that I say fuck off. I may not be a woman, but it doesn't take one to see very clear manipulation. And this episode exposes that kind of manipulation in an undeniable way. Anyway, that's enough ranting for me. In the episode, we see Betsy's mom getting ready to have the other scouts toss away their sashes into the ocean, as sashes have been oppressing women for ages. You know, the same sashes where the scouts place their badges. the very symbol of all they have accomplished, the very trophies of the mastery in a variety of subjects. But yeah, no, fucking learning new life skills or other fun new things, because learning to do a variety of new things to help progress your knowledge and life skills is just a long way of saying oppression. And so Betsy finally comes out and tells her mom how it is.
Individuality? What about my individuality? Being a honeybee is my whole thing.
She loves the honeybees. It's her form of expression, and her mom tries saying that
I just wanted you to have fun.
bullshit. Anyways, Betsy goes home and reads her honeybee guidebook, and you know what's really funny? Inside the guidebook, there's a section about being open-minded and accepting of the ideas of others, something Betsy's mom needs to read up on. And yet, it's funny how her own mom has been calling the honeybees sexist and trying to tear down their way of doing things the entire episode, and yet this positive message is in the guidebook. The page goes on to talk about how the uniqueness of each scout helps the world blossom into something more beautiful, which contradicts what her mom did, as she only wanted the girls to do what she wanted in her own way, thus melding them together rather than having each one be unique. But of course, the episode goes on to treat us with a montage that's trying to show us how oppressive learning is. And yeah, no, while it's trying to show how oppressive it is, all I am seeing is how these girls really could stand to learn some of this stuff. Some of them even have trouble typing a letter. Hell, one of the girls is typing with her thumbs. Yeah, no, clearly she needed a lesson on how to type. Also, just fuck this. When have any of the scouts never been allowed to ask questions? If you're learning something new that you have never done before, of course you're going to have a lot of questions to ask. So yeah, I don't get the point of this being here, since it doesn't work in any context you put it in. Anyway, Betsy shows up to this group meeting trying to become more laid back and looser, yet her mother gets on to her again and tells her that she needs structure, but she also needs to be who she is.
Pumpkin, you don't need to hang loose. You just need to be yourself.
What the fuck? Betsy has been trying to be who she is this entire fucking episode, and yet the mother is trying to act like that's an issue with her and not how controlling she is? The lesson of this episode is not for Betsy to learn. She had no problem until you decided to be more controlling. Case in point, fuck this episode. While most cartoons have issues doing feminism justice, this is perhaps the most insulting episode about feminism that I have ever seen. This episode is just terrible. As for the series, I'll leave my thoughts on that for another time. There's more to talk about the actual show itself rather than focusing on just one bad episode, and I feel Mighty B deserves a bit more recognition despite how this episode left me feeling. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching Nitro Reviews. Be sure to like and subscribe to help support future content, and I will see you guys in the next review.